So good evening, everyone. My name is Martina Arcadu. I'm a psychologist, okay, and I'm a PhD candidate from Genoa, University of Genoa in Italy. And my contribution today is about gender care and food practices. And no, okay, sorry. Okay, and I like to begin saying that nowadays we know that we are talking a lot about environmental and also sustainability. In this debate, the voice of women rise up in the movement known as ecofeminism. In general, we can say that the common point to feminisms, according to feminism, is the purpose of uprooting the logic of domination. But the term ecofeminism was first introduced in 1974, and in the book The Death of Nature, we can find the association between women and nature, observing how this relationship is emphasized by the two movements that emerged almost simultaneously: feminism and women's liberation on the one hand, and ecology and the liberation of nature on the other. In fact, for example, the metaphor Mother Earth is not casual. But more in general, we are talking about ethics of care. That is a new ethical perspective, typical of feminist thought and female psychology, different and not inferior to the traditional male perspective. The American psychologist Carol Gilligan, in her book, in famous book A Different Voice, emphasized the presence of different voice when facing moral issues. Masculine ethics based on rules and rights on one hand, and characterized by autonomy, rationality and impartiality, and on the other hand, feminine ethics based on care and responsibility, characterized by interdependence, feelings and attention to the specific situation. So we can say that in feminist ethics, care is a fundamental characteristic involving openness to others and a deep sense of belonging to a network of relationships. So today I want to discuss food as ethics of care for several reasons. First point is because food is a fundamental source of nourishment directly connected to the care of physical needs. So the first point is physical care. Second point is psychological or emotional care, because we know that food influences the emotional and psychological well-being of us, of individuals. Third point is social bonding, because meals serve as moment of social connection, reinforcing bonds through food, also routine and rituals. And last but not least, reflecting ecofeminist concepts, food choices and preparation can reflect broader care of the environment. So, summarizing with a simple scheme, keywords of my presentation, of my contribution, and also of my fields of research in which I study, are women, food, and activism. We know that women historically, but also nowadays, continue to be largely responsible for mental and manual labor of food. Food is linked to activism in various forms, serving as a vehicle for protest, food sovereignty, social justice, also food security, social equity, and so on. And women and activism, we know that from literature also, but later I show you, in emergency situation, women mobilize through distinctive modes of active citizenship and play leading roles in various moments. Okay, so I want to show you now results from a previous scoping review that I did during my master's thesis on women, activism and emergency that reveal specific characteristic of female activism. The first one is the motherhood effect. In literature is known about motherhood effect. Women become activists with the goal of being good mothers. But here we have to put a lot of attention at this point, because the concept of activist mother extend biological motherhood. Is not only we don't have to reduce this concept to biological motherhood, because mothers configuring itself as a broader caregiving role aimed at the well-being of the entire community. Second point is that activism produces transformation in women, in identity, community roles, awareness, knowledge, and also relationship change. Or, for example, added invisible work. Third point is going beyond, because women extend their actions beyond the initial cause, showing solidarity also with distant movement or distant or other women. Also, relationship with institutions shift from trust to distrust, aiming to create autonomous responses to community needs. And the last point is the process of the group building process, because these are unique, forming from informal pre-existing relationships, using social network for rapid communication, and also adopting recognizable names. Now let's focus on the intersection of three terms, and now we can find feminist food studies and active food citizenship. So, food citizenship refers to the right and responsibility of citizens to actively participate in all stages of food process, from production to consumption. And some key points are access and food security, participation and shared decisions, sustainability, and so on. In feminist food studies, what are an interdisciplinary field of research that explore the intersection of food, gender, and other factors such as social class, race, and ethnicity. And here some key points are women's role in food production, food and gender identity, food economy, food as a tool of power and resistance, that is my focus, body, health and nutrition, and food and the environment. So now I want to show you these real examples of the discussed concept. Includes ollas comunes, comedores populares, and vasos de leche. What are these? Are community initiatives with spread in various contexts, especially in Latin America, characterized by, and in other places characterized by situation of vulnerability and needs in response to crisis. These initiatives emerge from the grassroots to share food resources and prepare meals for those facing poverty or needs. All these organizations stand out in what women have played a fundamental role, characterized by reproductive and care work in the face of the crisis. So, why these initiatives matters? Because these are real spaces of collective action and solidarity. They go beyond overall improving the quality of life. These are spaces for learning social and political action, where women gain experience and expertise as true community leaders. Are spaces of collective care in a broad sense. And so at the end I would like to define real community device in terms of some tools inside the community that can produce community resilience and also individual resilience also. So here is the housework dilemma. Does cooking create social networks for women and promote empowerment, or does it remain a site of female oppression? This is the question of this kind of work. Challenges faced by this movement includes obviously social legitimization, for example, because society may not immediately recognize the value and legitimacy of this movement. Social integration, because integrating these initiatives into the broader social structure could be challenging, particularly if there is a resistance from conservative part of society. Limited resources, because many of these movements may operate with limited resources, also sometimes private resources. which can constrain the scope and impact of their activities. And at the end, because I'm a PhD student in intercultural processes and migration studies, cultural differences, because different communities may have diverse views on the role of women and gender dynamics. So, in conclusion, I pose an open question to all of you. I would like to know your opinion regarding the dilemma, the previous dilemma. So what do you think? What does cooking really create, empowerment or oppression? For sure, the answer depends on cultural, social and economic context. I personally believe that these initiatives are powerful devices for individual and also for community resilience, often underestimated or taken for granted. Emphasizing the importance of interdisciplinary studies that place food at the center can reveal its identity-forming power, individual and communal dynamics, communicative aspects, and provide new perspectives of empowerment. Simultaneously, these studies generate social, cultural, and symbolic capital. So, promoting studies that value cultural culinary capital, focus on community and social cohesion, through food, obviously, are delve into the relationship with the institution in these initiatives is crucial. Additionally, recognizes women's contribution as agents of change in the food sphere within gender studies also is essential. So, thank you for your attention.